Okay, and we are back now, guys. Hello, everyone. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We are in the fold. Hi.
Oh, yeah.
Hi. So, man, that was a moment, right? That was fun.
It was a couple moments.
It was a couple
the
moments.
most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Which part?
The entire thing, start to finish.
Start to finish? Well, interesting enough, we haven't finished yet. So,
I know.
No, I think he's talking about a clip that he's trying to share.
Wow.
hey, Rugby, thank you so much for 10 months, man. I appreciate that.
Sorry to hear about the car, by the way. That's rotten, man.
What?
Rugby's car got ran into and totaled. And I'm not sure if he was in the car or if somebody just like ran into it while it was parked.
Well, let's hope it was the latter, not the former.
He seems
Well, no, he
quite
says he's
excited,
fine.
So I'm going to assume his body is in good repair.
Hit and run in a parking lot. God, that is rotten, man.
Yeah, that's just bad luck.
Jesus, how the fuck
Is
did you
your
total a
insurance
car in
gonna
a
cover
parking
it?
lot?
Backing out very angrily.
That's fucking rough, man.
That moment when you accidentally decide to slam on the gas pedal as opposed to the brake.
Oh, and insurance isn't covering it either. Oh, that sucks.
I thought
ass.
D was for drive backwards. And R was for really fast forwards.
This driving school thing really didn't plan out too well.
God damn it.
Oh my god, I love the D.
That's something I expected to hear out of you eventually.
I'm predictable.
I know.
Intent.
I know.
R was for rev it up.
Perfect. So, who wants the floor? I've basically done my portion of the immediate story, things that I have planned, and I'd like to offer it to you guys. Who would like an opportunity to do something? Each of you guys have. Hey, that's what I like to say.
Will's like, yes.
Can I enter the hyperbolic time chamber and just train up to level 20?
You can fuck right off.
I do that every day anyway.
Well,
He'll enter the chamber, and then the next 25 episodes will only be Klaus. And he'll come out, we'll all be the same level at the same time. We got this.
It's 20 sessions of him just Goku screaming,
Show
and then
up,
he
guys, for the
he
Klaus
reappears.
series.
His hair.
That's it. That's all we hear. So, how's
Yeah.
it going, Klaus?
I got a new mic so you could hear all the tones of the up and down on the screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say something. I was like, man, I feel like you sound way better.
This is the new stuff. It came in today.
Well done. What'd you get?
Set it up pre-stream.
AT 2020.
That's a good mic.
It is.
It's a
I'm enjoying it so far.
really good mic. Yeah. Oh, Celtic, I'm not gonna do the character role during streams. That's just gonna have to be a rule that I have to maintain during tabletop streams. I'm gonna try to avoid rolling characters. If he wants to remind me post stream, then I'm okay with that. But for those of you that are curious, now before tabletop streams, I have a set of old character creation dice that I've acquired a long time ago. And if you sub or resub, I will give you a starter character based off of the dice. It determines your alignment, your race, and your class. And I'll give you a little story that you can run with too. It is much more functional, I think so anyway. That's Klaus for the next 7 sessions, just screaming.
Oh yeah,
God,
and I love
not-
that somebody actually pointed out the stat blocks that Jacob has. I was able to go ahead and put my real numbers off to Karami.
I literally
I was-
copied and pasted 100% what you sent me. Because I asked several times, and I said, I need your stats so I can give it to Karami, and I didn't even copy and paste. I took a picture.
It could have been with his temp buffs on, though.
It could have been. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know how I would have gotten a con of 21.
I don't fucking
You and
know.
Ulhime have done
Pretty
something.
ridiculous.
But no, I went ahead and took a clip of my PDF sheet and sent it to him. So
Cool.
He'll be shooting you an update here soon.
Well, based on any interaction at this point, Karami, you may want to save it because Jacob might die.
It's okay. All of our numbers have to get updated again. Well, me and Jacob's numbers.
And actually, at level 12, am I supposed to be buffing up one of my stats?
Yeah.
Every even
It's
level,
even number.
you have to buff the one that you didn't. You have to remember. You have to stagger it. So
I buffed Constitution. Fingers.
Yeah, I remember that the last one I buffed was probably con. Actually, did I do it at level 10?
it doesn't even matter. You've got like 620s.
Going by that sheet, yeah. I mean, if we're going to go ahead and just have me match that sheet, fine, I'll do that, no problem.
You shouldn't have said anything and just changed your sheet to match that.
Yeah, I guess these are just my base stats now, guys.
You're falling behind on your grift, man.
Doesn't even matter. He's still gonna get fucked by the dice.
I mean, you're right. but you have a
Honestly,
better
yeah.
chance.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and... It doesn't matter
Plus 25
how...
in every stat doesn't matter if you roll nat ones on every attack.
That's right.
Yeah. Roll me a d30! 1.
Just as a reminder to anyone that may be finding this game this evening, if this is your first time here, this game is probably as close as it's actually going to get to your at-home game around the table. We're friends. We've been friends for a long time, even though some of them may not think so. We are definitely friends, I promise. And we make lots of dick jokes and probably some fart jokes. And we laugh at Sniper most of all, because although he doesn't always like being the whipping boy, he still likes getting whipped and having people watch and laughing about it. It's bizarre. He invites it so much.
The weird part is I'm usually the one holding the whip.
I know. Why do you keep spanking yourself? This is bizarre. Quit
Really,
it.
really into self-flagellation.
Yeah, I was about to say.
He's actually the reincarnation of a Gregorian monk.
This is just his religion.
I just want to know what he's reminding himself to whip.
Well, you got to remember that those monks whip themselves to relieve themselves of impure thoughts, so...
Yeah. I mean, it works.
It's
I
fitting.
have a fucking palm print on my forehead now.
Spank that monkey!
It's fitting. All right, so
Oh, shit.
who wanted floor first?
Will did.
I was just making a fucking hyperbolic time chamber joke. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nope, too late. You already volunteered. Go.
All right, shit.
We volunteer Will as tribute.
You seem
I
to have
mean,
more control.
Oldest character in the game. Age before beauty.
You seem to have more control in Occipitus as your bolt form. Not like you can get up and fucking do jumping jacks, but you can certainly guide, or at least have some pre-controlled design in the directions you're moving. So, you're in the Cathedral of Feathers. Do you need an image of what this place looks like?
Sure. Go ahead and rehash it.
Sure. Let me go ahead and get you there. I'm just going to give you your character. Control C, and I may have to unarchive it. Cathedral Celestia. It might be it. Let's find out. It's not it. That's the good one. There we go.
Yeah, we need the one with flesh for walls.
Okay.
Ah, yes, where he threw the mighty torch.
And you are...
Torch of
there.
Legend.
The fucking Torch of Legend. Yep. You should find yourself... There you go. That's where you're at, lad.
I'm gonna leave the red X on. It's fitting.
It is.
He is an X-Men.
So, control yourself. Where would you like to go?
Deeper into the cathedral.
We
Okay.
must go deeper.
Oh boy, I can't wait for him to release another Eldritch Legend.
God, please no.
I think
You
most
say
of that's
that-
done.
This is where we introduce Yogg-Sothoth.
Are there any eldritch horrors left that we haven't let loose?
Oh, I'm certain there might be. You pass
Got a few more
by.
on the list to take out.
You find that there are a few corpses that lie here. There's one of what looks to be some kind of magma serpent and a succubus. It seems to be ever frozen in design. It's only of recent craft that they remain here. Remember, time operates slightly differently here, and you don't exactly know how demons deconstruct on this plane. You move through a field of fire, revealing more strewn rubble. And then you find this hallway here. Oh, I think we actually have an older token of you here. Bloop, those are gone.
He just sees his after image.
I'm going to approach and then stop at the foot of this statue here.
Okay. Let's see. This is a bit back, so let me see if I can find this real fast. This was the cathedral. And it was just last chapter. So I should be able to find this pretty quickly, I think. Boom, right there. In this location. Let's knock that page down. And I've got it. So you move to the foot of the statue of Orcus. Orcus, a demon lord. As powerful as Navthatoran? Probably. Navthatoran doesn't exactly have many statues left of him, at least in this world. You did see the statue of Navthatoran near the beaches at Red Gorge, but that's not here. Oxypodus is kind of a special place. What would you like to do, Klaus?
I'm going to try to pass directly through the statue rather than moving around it.
Okay, alright. You find that the moment you begin to connect with the statue itself, it seems to kind of guide back, like there's a wall, almost a forceful notion that's pushing you from this place.
Does it feel ominous, evil, dark in any way?
It reminds you of
suppose
you
any-
right now. Not to say that you're dark, ominous, or evil, but there is a taint on all that remains of you that seems to resemble this whole place.
I'll kind of take note of it mentally and move on, not paying a whole lot of attention to it necessarily.
Give me perception, please. Oof, almost a 1. Rolled on to a 19. Very good. Something flitters off to the side near one of the windows. It just moves out of your field of vision, but you certainly saw something.
I will follow after it.
Okay. You know it's up here, just outside. The windows have been shattered, and it's casting in the red glare from outside. Your perception reveals that there is, in fact, someone or something just outside of these walls. What that is, you can't immediately see, but you can hear breathing. Something literally just ducked around the corner. What would you like to do?
I'll move through the window, trying to follow after.
Sure, give me a will save as you try to force your bolt upward. If anything, it has remained at the very same height upon your death. Very good. You bested my challenge again. You managed to ascend to a point of which you had not been before. Now you're aware that you have the capability to at least leap upward or command your bolt. As you ascend to the frame of the window, you see outward, and a figure hides in the corner with hushed breath. This figure is dark-skinned, dark-featured, and seems to be halfway up the wall. You've seen figures like these before. It doesn't notice you yet. At least it's not aware that you're even capable of doing this, or have even seen it. Behind it drags what looks to be some kind of hump. A large, almost oval-shaped back body. It ascends from what looks to be some kind of silken rope that's dragging it upward.
I'll call out after it, or at least attempt to.
When you begin to usher noise outwardly, it turns its head, but it can't understand you. A snap, almost like a synapse, a jolt. It weaves through the air, and as it turns back, you realize that you're looking at a drider. It doesn't say anything, but it waits for your next move. You see that it's paced itself in a way that its limbs are holding itself steady on the wall.
Kind of surprised by my own inability to communicate. I'm going to try again, but with a little bit more force to reach out to it in some way.
Stay a while and listen.
You immediately attempt to force this outward. Give me a will save. I set the DC at 25. You are able to bark a single command.
I'll sort of crackle out, "Come."
The figure waits. You see it move slowly as it's attempting to continue pulling itself upwardly so. But it's going to get a save. I natural 20'd. It resists your compulsion, your command. As the owner of Occipitus, you have domain control. However, the 5% chance that it could succeed, it does. It continues to ascend the building, still watching you from this point. What do you do?
I'll turn my attention elsewhere. Not terribly concerned.
Okay.
Do I have view of the skull out in the field?
Yes, you would have vision of the skull.
I'm going to attempt to cast what I remember as the teleport spell to get to the skull.
Okay, let's see. Give me another will save. Okay, I set the DC at 20, and it's just another, like, synapse fail.
Okay.
Just kind of putters out, but you still continue.
Noticing the failure of my attempt, I'm just going to assume that I'm perhaps weaker, perhaps just unfamiliar with this form, and begin moving that direction, not necessarily hurrying, but meandering.
Sure. You start this meander of sorts. I'm assuming that you go out of the front of the building again.
Correct.
To descend the steps. You can't help but feel like something is watching you. But you have this almost continuous field of vision in all angles, and it doesn't take long for you to spot it. The young Drider continues to watch on. This one wasn't as large as the one previous that you had ventured to see and fight. The one that Ulhime somehow subdued and maimed with an unburnt torch, quite literally a stick. This one's much younger. Maybe a boy, maybe a forlorn bastard child that was cast away in Lolth's favor. You're not entirely sure, but it continues to watch on. Curiously enough, after you begin to descend the steps, it will descend from the building. And it eventually falls out of your field of vision. Do you stop and wait?
I'll slow my pace to see if it's maybe tailing me, trying not to be noticed, or just sort of lagging behind, but I won't stop and wait for it.
Okay, give me perception as you slow your pace. You'll find that you are in fact being tailed. Being the king of this domain actually holds some power, and certainly enough, you have drawn the attention of a young Drider. He watches on, keeping a distance of about 15 feet. When you fall out of vision, he quickly scuttles up, moves to a place that he can see you. Do you continue in the direction of the skull?
I'll continue moving towards the skull, but I'll attempt to call out to it and say, "You can move closer."
Go ahead and give me a will save. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But it's not quite enough. Remember, you have 2 luck rerolls.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw one in.
Okay. Yikes.
Not any better.
It's not going to be enough. It comes out again as like a... and snaps outward. The creature kind of pulls back, almost like blowing in like a cat or a dog's face, where the eyes kind of wince closed, afraid of what might happen. Continues its pace, staying behind you. Do you try again?
No, I'll resign myself to silence at this point.
Okay. It takes you a long time. You walk miles. Well, you float miles at a pace of basically smell. You're moving at the speed of smell. And this thing stays about 15 or so feet away from you. When other creatures move up, it tries to take what you would consider probably hiding. Like it's trying to fall out of the foray of anything else's vision. But it doesn't take long for other creatures to either become damaged or to lose interest with your bolt. They walk on, and it finds itself back in your company. You've walked probably 2 or 3 miles before you're found again, closer this time, 10 feet away from it. It realizes there is a certain safeness being next to you. You're only halfway there at this point.
I'm going to try to pick up the pace as best I can. I mean, I know that I probably can't move like I used to, but at least make some time to get there.
Okay. Give me a will save. And would this frustrate you? I'm curious.
Absolutely, yeah. Not being able to do the things that I used to do and have
Makes
control
sense.
over my body properly.
Sure. You move at a pace that's justifiably a little fast. You practically doubled speed. It'll take you an hour or so to make it there. And in that time, it remains about 10 feet away from you, just before you were out in front of the orbital socket that is this eye. You see the blood clouds above that seem to dip and swell and sort of swallow each other before exiting the other side. You see feathers that were adhesed downward by blackened pillars, where an angel of sorts was held down, questioned for information. And you see the same blood pool. That would lead you to the inner sanctum of Occipitus.
I'll follow the path that we once tread.
Sure. The moment that you begin to move and attempt to descend, the Drider figure steps to the opposite side of the pool and it looks like it's concerned. Seeing that it's not being harmed by you, but knowing that you're the leader of this place, it seems to stick one leg, its like spider-like appendage, into the blood pool. And when it pulls it back out, it stops and sort of like flips the blood away, just whips. Seems like it doesn't want to go, but its eyes kind of look onward to you.
I suppose I will try.
If you could, please, give me a d20 plus your wisdom modifier.
Okay.
It's not super great, admittedly, but I didn't set the DC very high because this is empathy at play, and your characters had a lot of time to figure some of these things out. How you handle this information is entirely up to you. Empathetically, you know what it's like to be devoid of a family, to not have the support of a maternal or paternal figure, to not have a sibling look out for you. This Drider is young. The Driders that were slain in the Cathedral of Feathers were significantly older. They were adults. Not saying that this is necessarily that they were its parents, but if this was a warring party and it was taken out to be taught, now it has no one. The Driders were slain. And here remains the last sole Drider. A child, comparably so. And you know what that's like. It's up to you what you do with that information. Do you continue to descend into the skull?
No, I'm going to attempt to... Well, I'll just cross the blood pool once again to be on the same side as the Drider.
Sure.
And sort of follow the edge of the skull around to see if there's any other entrances that wouldn't necessarily require him to enter some kind of pool.
That's fair. As you begin to step to the opposite side, the Drider, it follows, but you no longer hear the bleeding of its spider-like feet stippling over the ground, this like heavy padded sound. But instead, you hear this ticking, this. When you glance back and look with your foray of vision, your this almost like 360-degree vision, you look upward and the Drider is scaling the skull. The bone itself is semi-porous, and it's able to use its very small appendages to find these pores, to find this spongy-like opening, and it begins to scale the skull with relative ease. It looks down to you, and it kind of waits. And then it realizes that, well, you've leapt before. What's stopping you from leaping now?
Realizing that he's sort of waiting on me to follow, I'll attempt to do the same, to rise up the side of the skull.
Go for it. Give me a save. Force your body upward. Klaus, you will yourself upward, but it's almost as quickly as you had succeeded, you descend like a leap. Something is keeping you ground. When this happens, however, the Drider realizes that you're incapable of ascending, and it does what it did with anything else that it tried to lure in. It dropped a rope. It begins to quickly spin a silken rope. Its back two legs kick in unison, and it drums up what looks to be a thread. Drider thread is rare. It's also incredibly tensile in its tautness. Do you attempt to climb it? Is this a basic climb check? Depends what you do with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot.
Your wisp of lightning seems to whip several times over before finally touching the end of the thread, and as it attempts to continue dropping down a line of this is just fresh from its body, and there is a degree of mucus from this, and it's naturally very sticky. Lightning, in and of its own self, by nature, is very conducive. The moment that you hit it, your body ascends rapidly, almost faster than the eye can watch, and you strike the strider very, very intensely so. As quickly as you are a bolt, you find that you are scaling the wall of this skull by your 6 appendages.
I will attempt to stop and take inventory, sort of look at myself and figure out exactly what's happened here.
Very cool. You look around and you can see, interestingly enough, in a variety of eyes, there are multiple eyes that peer, taking in all of your surroundings. You see things several times over, but it all kind of comes back to one singular image in your mind. And you realize as you look down, you have the hands of a very thin, elven boy, but his skin is dark. Your chest is bared, but you have a loose cloak that drapes down your back. You have a large hump, and there are multiple legs that seem to scale up the building. You're in control. You've done it again. You hopped. This time you're aware of it. How many times has this happened before, you wonder? Will this being survive? Did I just vacate its soul and replace it with mine? Is it still here? You're not sure. You do know how to get back. You are aware of where the portal is to exit onto the mortal coil. But now you occupy the body of a 12 to 14-year-old drider.
That's going to be problematic.
Potentially. I will continue the climb to the top of the skull temporarily.
Okay. And we'll pass this buck back over to our fly lad. Hey! Jakob! Guess what,
What
buddy?
up?
It's your turn.
Yay.
I mean, unless, of course, Cort or Ulhime wanted to take the floor.
Oh, yes, please. Cort, Ulhime, you two take a stab at this.
I mean, I don't know. I can't do anything right now, can I?
I mean, technically, you can walk.
We can find out.
You can still do things. You are just in a very different form. Think of this as Patrick Swayze in Ghost, before you got the ability to manipulate the physical realm. I can't hear Cort at all.
Because he's muted.
Don't worry, Ronald. I already have
Well,
the
I
clay on the
guess I would
spinning
do
wheel.
the
You just
same
have to
thing that
get
I-
behind me and help mold it. We can do this.
This is bizarre.
I'll mold it for you. You don't have to go to the fire realm, Ronald.
I'll try to do what I did before and reach out to him, see if he noticed.
Sure, it doesn't really take you anything, right? Like, it's just touching. But it's up to him to perceive this. Let's see if Cort is perceptive.
Oh god, I hope so. Perception roll is right here. Oop. I thought it was a 1 again.
Cort, you feel something traipse up your arm and then quickly clasp your forearm. You can actually see the impression of the hairs being pressed downward on your arm, but you see nothing there.
Cort would, you would probably see the tears stop for just a second, before he kind of freaks out and pulls away. Still kind of keeping the thing in his arm, he's kind of like pushing away.
Okay.
Kind of like backing up against a wall. Because the last time he felt magic, it fucking crushed his soul.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. Makes sense. All right. Okay. Ulhime, he seems to back away in fear. He's not really sure what to make of it.
Using the gauntlet from, I guess similar to what I did to Jimothy, I'll see if I can I guess, kind of liquefy a piece of it and make like the same metal glove kind of thing that I did with Jimothy to Cort.
When you attempt to control your abilities in your form, nothing happens. You feel vacant, but you do see something else. When you move your hand over to pull this wrought iron from your arm, you notice it. They're carved, sure enough, into the upper arm near the shoulder is the face of Jimothy. Like the face of a gargoyle without pupils, its eyes wide open, stuck in terror. You see it, looking onward, watching.
You know, outside of that, I don't know.
Okay.
Would the feeling of him grabbing at me go away, or would I still have that?
Oh yeah, you moved away from him. It's not there, right? Like when you shift away, he is no longer grabbing at you. So, or at least until he moves again. But this is when we will interrupt as you back away and you're kind of looking in surroundings. This is when we will see the return of Jakob. Jakob, you find a burst open window and you descend from flight into the room. You surmise the situation as this. You fly in. Cort has tears rolling from his eyes. He looks very much afraid, and he is clutching a 40-plus pound bit of unrefined ore.
Okay, so kid's awake, clutching a rock. That's perfectly natural. But yeah, having Superman landed, he'll look in on Cort and just kind of keep his distance, hunkering down and keeping his hands wide. Cort, are you okay?
Cort's gonna kind of look up from the rock. His eyes, where they would have been normally full of like that childlike kind of innocence and happiness.
I'm just gonna put it in right now. If you say there is no Cort, only Zool, I'm fucking ending you.
Gravemind is taking control. He's gonna kind of have that like empty eye kind of look. He's there, but as you look up, his eyes are just still running with tears. And you're alive?
Yeah, we're alive. We made it out.
Then, and he's gonna kind of look down at the rock. What about Ulhime and Thelsa and he's gonna kind of start crying more, because if there was anyone that I think he would have remembered, it would have been Klaus, because Klaus literally died right like in the vicinity of him.
Hunkering down and just kind of sitting on his heels, he's gonna rest his elbows on his knees. We didn't all make it out of there, buddy. Not gonna lie. Far as I know, you and I are the only ones that made it out. That's all that's left of Ulhime. And I'm assuming that by now he's kind of noticing that the kid's not covered in, blood and viscera, considering how bad he was tore up.
A bit so. I mean, you're at least going to see that he's still covered in blood, but where you've patched some of the scars that seem to like adorn his face, these scars, they look fresh, like the wounds have healed.
Out of a question, Bub, how much would I have healed if it was once per
Well, it's 1 HP per round. So
around 6
it's
seconds.
It's probably been about 20 minutes, to be honest.
that means you'd be at full health.
Okay.
You're going to heal 10 per
10 per minute.
10 per minute, so 200.
Yeah, I'm Don't worry, I don't have 200 HP.
Thank fucking Christ.
Oh, you know, I'm kind of at a quarter to full HP. No biggie.
Don't scare me like that.
Cort's gonna cry as you say that's all that's left, and he's gonna kind of hold it tighter. Everyone's gone. Love
Well,
everything.
not the important ones. I mean, I'm still here.
He's gonna look up from the ore and look you dead in the eyes.
Okay, bad example.
My home's gone. All of my friends are gone. My master is gone. And now all of my friends are gone. And he's gonna kind of hold the rock and cry into it and put his head down.
I need a perception from you, Sniper.
Yay! All right.
Sniper, Jacob realizes that something is different about Cort. He's been rather emotionless for the most of his experience, but on top of noticing that Cort is different, and now he's speaking about things from his past, you can see the upper portion of a face peering back at you from the ore. It's about this area right here. And you'll be damned if it wasn't Ulhime judging you for your actions.
Oh, that's not creepy at all.
Don't worry, I'm holding your friend's skull. It's only judging you while we speak.
Well, little do you know, there was this one time we were out camping and he kind of stumbled in on me. And that's the exact same look he gave me when I tried to pull up my trousers.
And that's when I let the otter go, too.
Can we put angry eyebrows on it?
Okay, focus. You know, story time.
Yeah.
More or less, he's going to ignore the stone itself because he's just going to figure that's his mental imprint on Ulhime's, final belonging.
Sure.
And he's going to kind of hunker over and lean against the wall next to Cort, reaching over and putting an arm around behind his shoulders and just kind of pulling his head down to his chest. Taking a moment to try and comfortingly hold the kid. I don't know what to tell you, man. People die. It's a sad part of the cycle, I know. And it hurts a lot. But I promise you, it gets better.
Cort's gonna cry harder. Is just going to fucking start bawling.
Oh, it's all right. Let it out. Something went ahead and shook loose, didn't it?
He's eventually, I'm assuming, gonna end up almost in the fetal position, just holding this rock. I remember everything. I remember the fire and the heat. I remember those eyes.
Oh, we're not talking about my dad again, are we?
I don't know.
Are we talking about the church?
My entire kingdom was burnt to the ground.
Definitely not the church.
And he's just gonna kind of have that brief lapse of crying. My master told me to run away. And I ran. I I ran.
Stay a while and listen.
And I made it away. I don't know what happened.
Well, it sounds like he's a good man. He was looking out for your best interest, your well-being.
He's just gonna kind of cry softly. And at that point, he'd probably remember the sword that's on his back. Or would you
The
have
tank-
put my sword when you were carrying me?
Your sword is still across your back because that's where you had it.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not. His sword is left because he was fighting with it. You grabbed his body. You grabbed a handful of belongings that were valuable.
I
If you
said
recall-
I put.
No, my
If you
my other sword.
What'd you
We're
equip
talking-
it to? I'm curious.
I had my other sword, the one that I turned into melted mush,
Yeah, what'd you...
was strapped on my back.
So you tied like rope to it or something?
Holster.
Yeah, what kind of holster do you have that takes flashing metal that's almost 2.5 feet wide?
That's true.
No,
It would have just
That
been tied to
one.
my back.
That one would have probably been left behind
Yeah.
amongst the gear. The only one you would have is that bastard sword that I put back in your sheath.
That's more accurate.
But
Cort, that's very important to you.
yeah. At that point, remembering the sword and knowing that it probably wouldn't be there, he would. Where's the sword I came in with?
Oh,
And he's gonna kind of lean his shoulder forward in an attempt to have you pull the sword out of the holster.
well, no. Red, we're saying that it was likely left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's-
I know.
He's
But-
asking you to
but
pull the
the-
bastard sword from its sheath.
The holy one.
Yeah, the one that's on his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll kind of reach down and unclip the retaining strap from around his chest and lift it over his head
Okay.
so that he can hold the bastard sword out.
He's not letting go of the stone. That's why he didn't pull the sword out. He's holding it, and as you pull it out, he goes, "No, where's my other sword? Where?" And he's gonna kind of look. Where's my master's sword?
Ah,
That was all I have left. That was all I have. My king, my master. Where is it? I need it.
it's likely back at the Temple of Ouijas.
I need to
But
go
it's
back.
okay. We will. We'll go back.
He's gonna try to almost stand up, but still being weak and blood probably still not flowing. He's gonna kind of wobble and fall down, kind of face first.
Okay. This is where I'm going to take a little bit of control here. And we are going to wind out the session. Maybe a little earlier than you guys are used to, but we're closing into 11 o'clock, and it's generally when we wanted to try wrapping it up anyway. We've just been running late lately. So, this is what's going to happen. You will be assisting Cort. You see that he's in a way that's very bad. He's been broken, beaten. Probably where you've been many times before, but you've rebounded back, and you're no longer a boy. Cort is very much so that, and something's happened, fracturing his mind, becoming not quite so sure of himself, questioning his actions, questioning his memories. He needs your aid now. And as you aid him, he leans to the stone, clutching onto it, and you feel its regenerative properties. For the first time, you feel what sort of feels like Ulhime, being in his presence. This prosperous, soothing feeling.
I'm feeling judged.
Exactly. It kind of makes you feel judged, and it probably bothers you a little bit that even in death, he somehow makes you feel good. That being said, Ulhime. You stand in the doorway, watching this, knowing that you can't do much. You are aware that you can touch, but you don't really know to what effect. Ulhime, you turn to look at the world around you, and you realize that at this point it's only a matter of time. You've seen your facade appear in the ore, and you realize that you've been granted another opportunity. So as you look outward unto the world, unto Cauldron itself, this Shackled City, you look forward to the moment where you can actually do everything in your control and power to upend all of the violence, make everything right, and save Jimothy's soul before it is corrupted at its core. Because one, that is not what Ulhime would want, and two, that's not the legacy that Helm left behind. This is going to fall right now specifically to Ulhime. Ulhime. As you look unto the world, you watch from around you, just down the street, to the front of that very building that had wrought forth your death. You see something mysterious. You see a body. Someone you thought dead. Stepping out. Nobody was left in the temple. You're for certain of it. This body looks very familiar to you. It can't be, but it is. It's Thelsa. Thelsa steps out of the temple. And in her hand, she's clutching a broken blade. Halfway down the length of the blade, flashing metal, split and turned like that of an axe. A weapon for certain, but a weapon for whom? Do you follow, Thelsa?
I'm seeing this at a distance. How far is she from where we're at?
Probably 60 or so feet away, 70 feet. It's not very far. Remember, the shadow of the Temple of Ouijas was cast over the top. Casting over the top of Palor's. So you can see.
Yeah, see if I can, guide her back to the group.
You move with fleeted footwork. You move far faster than you had when you moved previously. And it doesn't really make much sense to you, but as quickly as you'd seen her, you are now right next to her. Her breath is
Stay a
halted.
while and listen.
Her eyes borderline shielded from the forays of the hood. But you know it's her. You see how she walks. You hear the clanking of the plates on her armor. And as she moves, she slaps this broken blade, Cort's blade, against her hip, like a cleaver. She moves, taking twists and turns in the city. You can tell she knows where she's going, but you don't know where she's going. You attempt to reach out to her, and when you do, something stops your hand. Almost like you're back in the mortal coil itself. Something physically shunts your hand away. Maybe it's the demonic presence. Maybe it's Thelsa willing it to happen. Do you continue to follow her?
Yeah.
You follow Thelsa, weaving in between buildings, ducking into alleys, before she finally falls upon an estate in the second to most outer ring of Cauldron, a wealthier neighborhood, or at least a wealthier area of Cauldron. The mistress ascends a flight of steps, and she walks into a home. As you follow in behind her, she is greeted by an older woman. You hear Thelsa? And then a girl. Thelsa? She moves up and hugs onto Thelsa, grabbing at her hips. She says, I missed you. And with no flinching or response, she draws the broken cleaver.
Well, if she's picking it up, I'm gonna use my Might of the Gods and grab her hand and fling her back if I can.
Nothing. You've never felt more powerless. She splits the cleaver that was once Cort's master's blade right down the little girl's face, immediately killing her. The woman calls out. In tears, she begins to cry. With unnerving speed, she dashes across furniture, rending the head of her mother from its shoulders. And as she slips the blade downward, causing all of the blood to dip away, she walks into a back bedroom where there is a man, ill. He lies in his bed, mostly inviting death at this point. He looks at the girl, and then he seems to look past her shoulder, almost like he sees you. Thelsa steps closer to the bed. The figure coughs.
Can I cast anything?
You can try.
I'll try to cast Spiritual Weapon to defend the guy.
When you go to cast Spiritual Weapon, nothing occurs. Until you have your material form, you're lost. The figure, before it struck down the man, with darkened features, darkened eyes sunk into his head, he calls to Thelsa. You finally come to do me in. You're gonna kill me. Is this what I deserved? For putting a fucking roof over your heads? You and your sister. Your mom. Well, I guess it's fine. You kept me warm on those nights, Thelsa. Just remember it after you've slain me. All those nightly visits to your bedside. Finish it. And she hacks him to pieces. Over and over again, she brings down Master's blade several times over, just chop, butchering him, until all that's left on the bed is pieces to be dissected. The Vitruvian man become puzzle pieces. She drops the blade, and she walks out. Not before you catch a glimpse of her eyes. You also see clearly her face. Her eyes are closed. And on her eyelids, where they were shielded with bony plates, now there are burns on the eyelids that represent the temple of Ouijas. And that's where I call the session. In this time, 1 week will pass. You guys get to decide what happens in your week. We're going to time hop. What happens in your downtime? What do you do with your free time? How do you fix each other? You're going to notice after a day that Ulhime is returning. You don't know what it means, but this ore sorting to shift and grow, and it begins to off-put a face in the next ahead. And in a week's time, Ulhime will emerge again from the ore.
So you're saying he's like one of those little foam things you put in the bath, and they eventually just grow?
Sort of. In a manner of thinking, but the ore will remain the same. It doesn't actually lose any weight or change. He just slowly emerges from it.
It's someone's kink out there.
Someone's. You're not wrong. You aren't wrong. And with that, we end tonight's session. Yeah. I thought that was good.
I thought that was a pretty fucking intense ending.
Yeah.
Thelsa is now going to be the most understood yet hated character when it comes to upcoming sessions.
Maybe.
You evil bitch.
Maybe.
And worse, Ulhime witnessed all this.
I'm sorry, we're definitely hitting a week-long time skip. Thank you, Callie. I appreciate that. I know that not everybody got to do the things they wanted. Klaus didn't get to cast spells, Ulhime didn't get to save the man or the family, Cort didn't get to act brave and stoic, and now we have our hero that somehow managed to save Cort's life. Warranted to the law. You're now a wanted man.
Yeah, again.
Also, Klaus is a drider now. It's terrifying.
Yeah, we'll get to that at some point.
Did Thelsa betray the party?
No.
Thelsa has a lot of secrets. A lot of them haven't come out yet. They just have not come out yet up to this point. Thank you so much, Legends of Eventris. I appreciate that. Welcome in, guys.
Well, technically, Thelsa, Jakob, Cort, they all have secret histories that are slowly but surely coming out. I think Ulhime and Klaus are the only ones who are the most forthwith, and that's only because we've seen everything Klaus has done, and Ulhime doesn't have a shady history he wants to hide.
Klaus has a backstory of about 147 episodes, and then some more deeper lore.
That's right. Courier says you can't betray the party if you were never on their side. Taps Temple.
Oof.
It's definitely a thing. Now, some of you guys are familiar with me from the Roll4It community. Some of you have never really liked tabletop games that are about D&D or Pathfinder because the D20 system can be a bit crunchy. But as I've explained many times before, you can weave roleplay into the story, but you just have to have patience and try. And tonight speaks on those levels, as many things came to fruition. It was only a matter of time before Thelsa faced her demons.
To be fair, she joined the party for that reason.
Yes. It was only a matter of time before Cort faced his past life. Before Ulhime saw and realized that he has to. It's now or never. He's got to get to the plane of flame to acquire primordial flame. He has to. Or he dies. He hard dies. So this is your opportunity, guys. You could ask questions right now. If you have questions about the game, if you have questions for the players or for me as the Dungeon Master, this is your opportunity. Fire them away.
Hit me with your best shot.
Cort doesn't want that sword now. That sword has baby blood on it.
Will Thelsa still be a PC, or is she now an NPC? She's going to come back next week. Annie will be back next week, and Thelsa will still continue to be played. But a week has passed. Is Ulhime like a reincarnated god? Ulhime is... That's difficult. Ulhime's in a very particular situation. He happens to have the last remaining relic of a deity that was believed to have died. And he is the only person that believed in this deity, and because he assumed this position, he was erased from the memories of everyone that could have potentially known about it. But because one person believes and remembers, Ulhime still lives. And that was that interaction that we saw tonight. That was that interaction.
Yeah, and the only reason that Thelsa's not here to go ahead and be played out is just, and he's a slacker and he's Canadian.
I would say he's the opposite of a slacker.
Yeah, he's at work for like...
He's a horrible... He's
a
a dirty Canadian. That's no Mexican.
He's working right now.
Yeah. He works at a mine.
Basically.
And he has terrible hours.
Basically.
Do we know who the person is? It's the bartender's kid, who we had tried to save from a horrible, painful Jacob-induced death.
Oh!
But
okay,
we didn't.
So technically, I've killed one kid by accident. It was accidental. The other one, I didn't expect to be so squishy.
Will Klaus's stats be affected by his new form? Yes. Yes, he will get new features and abilities courtesy of his Drider form. Also,
Klaus
for what it's
is not
worth, Klaus is young. He will not suffer from venerable traits anymore, so his stats will hard change.
Also, Klaus is not the ruler of a plane of the abyss. He is a ruler of hell,
Stay
essentially.
a while and
No,
listen.
Or does
it's
that
the
count?
other way around. Klaus is
Yeah.
the ruler of a layer of the abyss. He is the ruler of Occipitus.
Okay.
Because he fucking stole it from me.
In the best moment, if you want to go back and witness that, please do. It was amazing.
He's just like, no, you don't have to do this. Yeet!
He definitely
In
eat it.
fact, yeet myself into the pillar.
You fucking shoved him out of the way.
Then jumped in.
Yeah.
We
just
had
said-
we had that heavy RP
Dylan,
moment.
last
of,
words
oh,
are rotten
I
egg.
got this. This is my purpose. This is why I'm here. I must go ahead and make it up for my friend. Fuck you. Yeet.
I still loved how you did it. You're like, I just push him and I just fall backwards into it.
So fucking casual, like, too. Because I figured out the puzzle, and it was like, yeah, I got this. Self-sacrifice.
You would have squandered it anyway. Plus, now I get to lord it over my brother.
Oh,
Thanks.
yeah. Taboo, trust me.
Look,
He's
it would have
such a
just been
fucking
something
troll.
for your dad to control.
Things that aren't necessarily wrong for 1,000. He still may have squandered it.
I think that was actually in the 120s, Emo, but you'd have to ask Christy. She has it.
Kirsty knows.
All right, guys. I think that's gonna be it. I'm grateful for you guys for watching us tonight. I'm super happy. I honestly could not have expected this kind of turnout. You guys are fantastic. Come back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna be doing some character building. Gonna be sitting down with JD Scientize and Imperial Girl to build their characters for the Mummy's Mask. Red, if you could clip that noise again because you're making noise. Thank you. So come back tomorrow and hang out. For now, we're going to boogie on out of here so we can do our post-show actual talks, and we can get to the nitty-gritty of this, and these guys can go to bed, because some of them have to work tomorrow. Well, I think most of them have to work tomorrow. Well, yes. Yes, that's the case. Guys, we're going to go ahead and raid on over to JD Scientize. And we're going to go with a message. Let's go with, "We buildin' you tomorrow." Let's go ahead and copy that down, and everybody get "We buildin' you tomorrow." I'll even say it. "We buildin' you tomorrow." Copy that. If you happen to raid over, I will give everybody extra reputation at the end of session once we get over there. So go do the thing, and when this raid goes through, you guys will see that you get a little bit extra rep just for me.
Thank God you wrote that out, because I thought you said "we billing you tomorrow."
No,
and I'm
we're
like,
definitely going with tomorrow. No, I like it.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. All right, guys, thanks for absolutely everything. I love your faces, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.